I.S.U.P.K. 53rd Annual Lord Passover.
53rd Annual Lord's Passover is going to be held down here in Florida.
It's going down.
You're here tonight to get a chance to be righteous enough to be worthy of God coming to save you.
That's right.
It's going down. The Lord's 53rd Annual Passover.
When we say we no cowards, we stop that business. We no cowards up in here.
Book your hotels now at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, the IHG Hotel, 301 Tucker Lane, Cocoa Beach, Florida, 32926.
Comes with all your dishes, pots, pans, forks, knives.
I gotta like this. This is like an apartment and a hotel room, you know what I mean? Yeah.
This here right here is about to be holy ground. It's gonna be holy ground. All our beautiful, wonderful brothers and sisters from all over the world. You understand? We can boast that now. Brothers and sisters coming not only from every state, but from all over the world. I heard the numbers this year is ridiculous. We had to buy out the whole hotel.
Friday, April 15th at the Space Coast Convention Center.
My camp undefeated. You cannot debate. You just want the clout. We just want the grades. I'm just trying to get it.
This is going to be glorious.
We don't give a fuck. You can see it in our faces. Got it out the mud. Straight up out the base.
Shalom, DC, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started on 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yahanna. Since 1969, we've been teaching the truth of the Bible, and the truth is that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the true Jews according to the Bible, and that our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. What we are going to get into tonight is what was the true engine, the true motivation behind MLK's civil rights, and that's what we're going to get into tonight. We all, know who MLK is. We grew up on on how he was supposed to have been this hero, this figure of honor and piety and everything that is supposedly supposed to have been good within the black community, when in reality he was nothing but a lustful bastard, and all he wanted to do was to get to the lust of his desires. You know what I'm saying? The whole civil rights movement was only geared for one thing. He may have started out as something else, but when he was the actual driving force was something that many of us had not known. If you up in here in the UPK, you sitting here learning from the priests and prophets, you know exactly what his motivations were. Growing up in school, all we thought was, we didn't want to get dogs sick on us, or we didn't want to have fire hose, going on us or anything like that, or we wanted to sit at the oppressors, dinner table, or the cafe, or their cafes, their restaurants, swimming in their pools and whatnot. When in reality, we had all of that. We had all that, and we had all that without, the worry of them poisoning or doing something disgusting to our food, or having some oppressor look after our kids while they're in the pool or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? If there was some trouble, something going on, we'd have to look to the oppressor to actually try and help us. When we had our own pools, we had our own restaurants, we had our own places of entertainment, we had our own transportation. You know what I'm saying? There's something called the Green Book, and what the Green Book was a book of places where we were welcome. Whenever we were traveling, going from wherever within the South, there was only a certain places that we can actually go to. There was only certain places where you can actually go to get some gas. There was only certain places where we can actually sit in a restaurant or get something to eat, or even use the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? There were certain places, and many of those places belong to us. You know what I'm saying? Where we didn't have to worry about some nefarious, something devious that goes on in the back where we can't see. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. It may have been a little older. It may have been a little bit more broken down, but it was ours. It was ours. I remember this scene from this old movie, Cadillac Records, and it was where Howlin' Wolf just came into town, and he was meeting with Muddy Waters and that oppressor, whoever owned Chess, whoever owned the Cadillac Records, right? And he was saying, if you make a few hits, this is Muddy Waters was saying, he was like, you make a few hits, you can get one of these. And he was talking about a Cadillac. He drove up in his old, pickup truck, beat up pickup truck that had different panels and whatnot, different color panels. We all know what type of truck that was. And he was like, nah, just pay me what you owe me. This may not be, the most beautiful. I'm paraphrasing what the scene was like. This truck may not be the most beautifulest thing, might not be the most shiniest thing, but it gets me where I need to go, and it's reliable, and better yet, it's mine. I don't have to go for anybody for anything when it comes to this. And right after he had left within that scene, Muddy Waters was asking the oppressor for some money. He was like, well, I don't know if I got it for you. He was like, well, no, he said, well, I already gave it to you. He was like, what are you talking about? How you think you got these Cadillacs? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the stuff that we have might not have been shiny, might not have been new. Few things might have been, might have been in a state of decay, but it was ours. You know what I'm saying? We had dignity when we was going in there. We can walk through the front door. We didn't have to go through the back. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have to wait till all the other oppressors were done and then we get a turn. No, it was ours. And MLK played a huge, major role in taking that that ownership that we had within our own community, taking it out of our hands and putting it into the Chinese, put it into the Japanese, put it into the Arabs, and put it into the East Indians, put it into the Africans, put it into their hands, and then they treat us any old kind of way they want to treat us. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why he did it is what we're about to get into tonight. Start with the Politico article, if you could, Baba Shah.
Concert. We were madly in love.
What are you talking about? We were what? Who is this talking about?
The untold story of MLK's white girlfriend.
Now, how many of y'all knew that the father of civil rights, the hero, the superhero of civil rights, wanted equality and justice and all that, had a white girlfriend? How many of us? Because I never knew this. I thought he was Mr. Pro-Black, Mr. Mr. Blackity Black himself. That's what I thought when I was growing up. I had no idea about this. We didn't learn about this in school. Keep reading. Just to let you know, this is the title of the article, right? Keep going.
We were madly in love. The Untold Story of MLK's White Girlfriend by Patrick Barr, April 1st, 2018. It took me a long time to find Betty Moitz. I had first learned her full name while reading Bearing the Cross, the 1986 biography about Martin Luther King Jr., written by David Garrow. In the book, Garrow briefly describes the serious relationship between King and a young white woman around the same age named Betty. They had met at Crozer Theological Seminary in Chester, Pennsylvania at the time.
So we all know that Martin Luther King was a pastor. You know, he became a pastor when he was young. He went to seminary school, and this is the time when he actually fell in love with this oppressor, with this slave master's daughter. And you may be asking why is he been going to this school up north? He's from Atlanta, and everybody knows he went to Clark University. That's in Atlanta. That was his undergrad, you know. And then after that he went to seminary school to learn the book, learn the Bible, learn how to teach and break down scriptures. When in fact he never knew how to break down scriptures even after he graduated from seminary school. Why? Because our oppressor doesn't know anything about this Bible. That has nothing to do with them. This is like an encrypted book, and if you do not know the encryption key, you're going to get everything wrong. And what the principles that he's learned from his father, because his father was a pastor, went to seminary school. He learned everything that was, he learned all his lessons was absolutely wrong. Everything that he stood on was wrong up until the bitter end, when he actually said something that was that encapsulated his whole involvement within the civil rights. We're gonna get to that later on as well. Keep going, Baba Shaw.
Come. At the time, where King was a divinity student from the age of 19 until 22, when he graduated in May 1951. In Bearing the Cross, Garrow quoted a close friend and mentor of King's at the time, Reverend Pius J. Barber, who said the relationship had left King as a man with a broken heart. He never recovered. Now,
what do people who are deeply injured and they never recover emotionally, you know what I'm saying? What do? A lot of times they tend to lash out. A lot of times they tend to go down this destructive path. And King is no different. He went down a destructive path that wasn't just, was just destructive to himself, but it was destructive to his whole nation. When I say his whole nation, I'm not talking about the United States of America, because they hated him. They hated him so much that he wanted to love them, and they put a bullet in his head. You know what I'm saying? The nation I'm talking about is the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, because even though he was marching, you know, in the name of the black man, you know what I'm saying, this affected the Native Americans and the Latinos, so-called Latinos as well. He did us a great disservice just because he was heartbroken and he never healed from it. When I say healed, what he should have done was gotten away from the people that have quote unquote broke his heart, and actually really got into these scriptures. Forget the philosophy and vain deceit of our oppressor, and go into what the Most High has for us. Little did he know, he actually went to school for years studying this, you know, this Bible, and did not even know he was in there. You know what I'm saying? Did not even know. I didn't even know I was a grown-ass man, didn't even know he was in there until I actually came into the school. You know what I'm saying? And if there was if there was something that was that defined me across the generations, and it's in a place where everywhere, you know, it's in a place where, like the Bible, where this is the #1 best-selling book throughout history. You know what I'm saying? There's no other document that is more read or more known, is translated into multiple different languages. You know, damn near every language on earth. Everybody buys it. Everybody adheres to it. How do we know? How do we know everybody adheres to it? Just look at the year. You know what I'm saying? They try and change it, you know, to something else. They try and change it to something else, as far as, you know, BC, when I was growing up, meant before Christ. You know what I'm saying? That's what it meant when I was growing up. Now they changed it to something else. You know, and they did to make it like, well, it had nothing to do with Christ. But everybody acknowledges, you know, the Bible. Everybody, whether you are a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're an atheist, you're a Buddhist, not only do you acknowledge the Bible, but you actually you live. And when I say live, I'm talking about Christianity. You live by the principles of what Christianity teaches you. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to show love and affection, or at least respect for everybody. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to tolerate everybody, when the Bible has nothing to do with that. You know, anybody can be a Christian according to Christianity. Whatever religion or mindset that you have, anybody can be that thing. When the Bible does not talk about that, Christianity talks about that. You know what I'm saying? So, but let's just keep on going into what we're bringing out.
Come. In a way, I never recovered from that quote. As I wrote my own book about King, I wasn't satisfied with such a short description of such an apparently devastating relationship. Garrow was the first biographer to discover Betty's last name, and fortunately for me, buried it in a heavyweight endnote at the back of the book. That endnote took me on 2 cross-country flights, spurred dozens of calls to wrong numbers, and knocked on countless doors of people I thought might have known Betty.
Hold up, before we go on, I just feel remiss to miss this opportunity to say we are not the Africans. Africans are not us. Africans stink. They eat doo-doo. They're some of the most vile people on this earth, right behind the oppressor. Right. We have nothing to do with you stinking Hamites. Right. You understand? I want to make that entirely clear. We have nothing to do with you stinking Hamites. And I want to say this right now before I block you. The hell up out of here. That's
right.
Bulls. Keep going. Slack it.
Come. They didn't, but I left my business card anyway. And eventually, one of those people found someone who might know Betty. And that person sent me an address to which I sent the letter.
All right, so right here, he was just talking about how he actually got in contact with this this woman, Betty Moyes, because there had been rumors, it wasn't even rumors. There had been unconfirmed stories about this alleged girlfriend of Dr. King, white girlfriend of Dr. King. So he actually went and found this woman. He finally found her last name, and he wrote letters. This is back in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? This is way back in the 80s, early 90s when he did it. So he wrote letters, made phone calls, knocked on doors, and he finally found the right person, right? So skip me down to, let's see, but Betty recalls this time.
Sir. But Betty recalls.
Hold on, wait. Read one paragraph up.
Sir. From the start, Moyes and King's relationship was anything but carefree. Almost all of King's friends, including Barber, tried to discourage him from staying with Betty.
Now, so all his friends knew he was with this oppressor, and they always tried to discourage him from doing this. But when we all know, when we have that quote unquote monkey on our back, don't nobody has that much of an influence on us until we want to get that monkey off our back. You know what I'm saying? We have to recognize that first we have a problem. King didn't recognize he had a problem. He didn't realize, he thought, like I said, he's a Christian going to a Christian school, teaching these Christian doctrines that everybody should love everybody. Even in the time and in the place where he grew up and where he's from, none of that was in effect. You know what I'm saying? The very people that was telling him that he is less than a man, less than a human, that he should live in poverty, and don't you ever think to look up at me and try and be my equal. Those same people are the ones who was beating him, who was lynching his people. You know what I'm saying? Raping his women. And then he goes and then goes to a school that teaches these same people that do this stuff to him and learn from them. You know what I'm saying? Who holds those same values, those people, those men that burn the crosses and black men's front yards. Those men that bombed the churches, that killed out our young daughters. Those men that strung our uncles and our aunts up, and our mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers up, are Christian. You know what I'm saying? Are Southern Baptists. All these people that he wants to learn from is the same people that are actively destroying, and he sees this. You know what I'm saying? He lived it he was growing up during Jim Crow. He understood this. So how is it possible that you think that you can go on some sort of crusade to try and put everybody together when it's obvious that one people hates the other? It's obvious that one people hates the other, and they have not only that, but they have the power to actively destroy us. When all we did was love them, beg them for mercy, beg them for equality, beg them so that we can walk in, beg them for some dignity. That's all we did. He took that and made that a mission to kill us more easily, because that's exactly what they're doing. You had something?
Sir, Slocky, what you're saying is so heavy too. It's because this is how Christianity is such trash, because their mentality didn't even consider us a full human being. We were 3/5. But with Christianity, those people who don't even think of us as a full human being serve the same God and still put hands on us and torture us and everything. That's how terrible Christianity is, that one set of people can not even think that you're whole, but you're still supposed to love everybody.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. You're absolutely right. And in their Constitution, which is so beloved by the American people, we are still 3/5 of a man. If they have yet to change that. Right. That's in America's DNA. We are 3/5 of a man. Let's keep reading. Let's keep reading about Shaw.
Knowing what an interracial relationship would mean for his future. I'll stop that sentence over, sir. Almost all of King's friends, including Barber, tried to discourage him from staying with Betty, knowing what an interracial relationship would mean for his future. I thought it was a dangerous situation that could get out of hand. And if it did get out of hand, it would smear King. His Crozer classmate, Cyril Powell, recalled in a 1986 interview, it would make his future hard for him.
It would smear King, it would make his future hard for him. Now he was saying that it was going to be hard. You know what I'm saying? It could possibly be dangerous. Do you know how many cities, how many towns, how many black men, women, and children were killed for something less than this? If anything would have went wrong, all she would have had would claim was he touched her, he abused her, he whatever. It didn't matter. He looked at her wrong. And all the good citizens of Pennsylvania, Cloister, Pennsylvania, would have rose up against him. Why? Because things have happened for less. You don't believe me? Ask the residents of Rosewood. No, you can't. You don't believe me? Ask the residents of Seneca Village. Oh yeah, you can't. You know what I'm saying? You don't believe me? Ask the citizens, the residents of Oklahoma. Was the
Tulsa.
Black Wall Street in particular, because Tulsa still stands. They just blotted out the Black Wall Street part. Ask the citizens there. You can't. You can't, because they made sure of that. They made sure of that. And Dr. King, he wasn't a doctor at the time, but this shaped his obsession. This shaped this gave in his drive as to the civil rights movement. This is what he wanted. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
Sir. But Betty recalls that time and the young King with fondness anyway. In our year-long correspondence and one long meeting in January 2016, Betty, who recently passed away at the age of 89, told me the story of their relationship and just how close King came to walking away from his future plans for her. We were madly, madly in love, the way young people can fall in love. She told me during our conversation at home.
They were both madly, madly in love. Now, this is way before Coretta Scott. He met her. It's going to say he met this white woman as a freshman in this his first year in the seminary school. You know what I'm saying? So he was with her for years. He was with her for years. Keep going.
Sir. She started at the beginning. From a young age, Betty Moitz had a family connection to Crozer, where ML, as King was known at the time, was pursuing his studies before returning to his native Atlanta to follow in his father's footsteps as a preacher at Ebenezer Baptist Church.
So his father was a pastor as well. His father was a pastor as well, and that's where he picked up a lot of these bad habits. You know what I'm saying? Even though he seen what his father had gone through, what his family members, his relatives, his kinsmen, his friends, his neighbors, what everybody's going through at the hands of the oppressor, seeing this firsthand. Like we don't understand how bad it was, because a lot of the oppression that we have right here, right now, is subtle. You know what I'm saying? They back then, they did it with their own hands. You know what I'm saying? They kicked in your door with a shotgun, and there wasn't a goddamn thing you could do about it. If they didn't like whatever they accused you of doing, whether it was true or not, they coming down to your house, kicking in your front door, and your father, there's nothing your father or your uncles or any of the neighbors could have done. In today's time, it's more subtle. How is it more subtle? The school to prison pipeline. You know what I'm saying? The redlining, the keeping away of actually, you know, of actual good jobs, the feminist movement, keeping us in poverty, pushing drugs into our community, and then having the police keep that barrier so that the drugs can stay in our community and not go into bleed out into other communities. Having us kill each other by joining these different gangs. You know what I'm saying? That's the subtle beast that we're up against. You know what I'm saying? The scripture calls the oppressor the most subtle beast. Why? Because in times past, he did it with his own hands. You know what I'm saying? He will come up to you, to your face, and say, I hate you, nigger. Do not look at me. Do not look at my woman. Ask Emmett Till about you know, whistling at a oppressor's woman.
Right.
We can't.
Okay.
Let's ask his kids. Oh, we can't, because he never had it. He never even got the opportunity to have his own family. We need to stay the hell away from our oppressor. Stay clear away from them. Because it's nothing but death and destruction if we were supposed to, if we're gonna, you know, commingle with them. Keep going.
Come on, sir. Moise's grandmother, Elizabeth, became the school's dietitian in 1933.
All right, well, they're just giving some background on how this oppressor's family came to be about on this campus, and how her grandmother was a very important person within that school. Then her mother became had that same position. This woman didn't want to go to that school, so she went to another school somewhere else in Pennsylvania. But she always came back home where her family lived, and within this house, this quote unquote house, there was a dining hall where a lot of the people, a lot of the kids at the school ate. And this house she ran into King, right? So skip me down to at first.
Concert. At first, she and ML were just making small talk in Miss Hannah's kitchen.
See, even then, back then, that could have gotten you killed. You know what I'm saying? Just having small talk. No, you don't have small talk with anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
Come. Nothing that would cause nearby students to turn their heads, but it continued. As they spoke on and off over the next few months, Betty learned about ML's background and his tremendous hopes for the future. Crozer was known as a very radical religious institution.
What is they? Let's read between the lines. What are they talking about? Radical religious institution.
Get down and lay down.
Nah, I wouldn't say that. I would say it's the opposite. Do whatever the hell you want to do.
Oh.
Do whatever the hell you want to do. Radical religious institution. They're radical. They're thinking outside the norms. Now in the 50s, there was no flirting or having open conversations between the races. You know what I'm saying? So they're saying even though it was a radical, religious institution, they really didn't care. Keep going.
Come. She told me. So I was surprised to hear from ML himself that he had more conservative beliefs. ML's own feelings for Betty were something he tried to keep secret.
Hold on. I got something for that real quick. All right. Keep going, Baba Kashaw.
God, sir. Though he even written to his mother about his own recent dating prospects, he would not have been at all eager to inform her that he was interested in a young white woman.
Like, you know damn well he ain't gonna tell his moms that, you know, he was interested in a white woman.
If she can't use my comb, don't bring her home.
If she can't use the comb, don't bring her home. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. And we learn. Hold on. Let's see. Keep going. Keep going.
Come. Walter McCall, ML's best friend and hallmate, who went by Mac, knew, of course, but he saw no harm in helping his friend separate himself even further from radical norms they both believed were outdated.
Radical norms they both believe were outdated. There's something in the Bible about that. I believe there is something in the Bible about that. If you could get me Isaiah 58. Baba Kashaw. We're going to come back to that as well. So this cat that they're talking about, his name is Mac, or they call him Mac. If you read down an article, or if you know anything about, you know, this person, he was a little bit older. He was about 10 years his senior. He was already married and had a kid. But he didn't see that it was anything wrong with what King was doing. So he didn't say anything, right? So read what you got, verse 1.
Come. Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1. Cry aloud.
This is exactly what we do every week. You know what I'm saying? We go out on the streets and we cry aloud. And what?
Spare not.
We don't give a goddamn about your feelings. You understand? What we're telling you is going to save your life. It's going to save the life of your family. It's going to save the life of your kids. You know what I'm saying? And in order to do that, a lot of times we're going to hurt your feelings. But it will be better if we have our own kingdom over your goddamn feelings. I don't think you understand that. It will be better to hurt your feelings and have our own kingdom than to spare your feelings and to be up under every single person's foot, everybody's foot. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
Lift up thy voice like a trumpet.
Cry aloud and lift and we ain't gonna spare your feelings. We're gonna tell it to you straight, and we ain't gonna tone it down. A lot of times they say, well, we can get down with what you're saying, but why you gotta be so militant? Why you gotta be so angry? Why are you angry? The reason why we're angry is because I know who we are. I know how the way we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be on top, and everybody else is supposed to be on the bottom. I'm talking about Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Everybody's supposed to be underfoot. But how is it? How is it now? We're under everybody's foot. You got these oppressor devils kneeling on our neck in front of the world for the world to see, and nobody doing anything about it. Nobody being able to get this man up off him. And we had different nations on that man within that situation. Different nations, you know, it was four cops involved. Different nations, including one of our own. 4 cops involved who couldn't get this oppressor up off of this our neck. Do you understand that they weren't even supposed to say a bad word to us? in fear of severe retribution. That's what the scripture says. Not even a dog shall wag its tongue against Israel. And now I have to look as some devil is kneeling on one of my brother's necks as he dies slowly in front of the world to see. And I'm supposed to just tell you, nah, brother, you shouldn't be with the white. Nah, damn that. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And I'm going to say that as loud as I can.
That's right.
Keep going.
Come on, sir. And though a few of the students...
No, the scripture.
Oh, concert. Sorry, I'll start from the top. Cry loud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and shew my people their transgressions.
Right? And show my people their transgressions. This is a transgression. The Most High killed everybody, flooded the earth, except for what, 8 people and a few animals. You know what I'm saying? Killed everybody because of this right here. If King actually knew the Bible, was actually learning about the Bible, he would have known that the Most High does not play with that. There was a scripture where this brother was with a Ammonite woman or a Moabite woman, and someone took that scene and he was just parading her around like he had, you know, like to put it in the terms of today. Think of Jeezy and what's her name? Kim Sung Il, whatever the hell her name is. It doesn't matter. But you know, Jeezy is married to this heathen, and he parades her about like she's the best thing to known to man. Well, someone in the scriptures seen that and knew how the way the Most High was, and he was mad about it. Why? Because he hates what the Most High hates. This brother was parading this heathen around like she was, you know, hot stuff. And what he did was he took a javelin and as they were laying together, thrust them through. And according to the scripture, the Most High was very pleased with that man. I'm not telling you to go out and do any of that. Do not do that. I repeat, do not do that. What that man did. Do not do that. What you should do is teach your kids and tell your friends and family and any Israelite around you not to do that. Abstain from your lusts. You know what I'm saying? Abstain from getting a strange woman. Scripture is very illicit on that. Do not take, you know, strange women. Do not do that. It may be a little tough to tame a sister, but it's so well worth it. It is so well worth it. You understand what I'm saying? And honestly, if we actually learned how to be, you know, men that we were in the scripture, in the Bible, there wouldn't be much taming to do. You know what I'm saying? Because we will be growing up, raising up families righteously, you know, righteously. You know what I'm saying? There wouldn't be no need for, you know, child support or CPS or any of that, you know, garbage that our women use against us, hold against us. There won't be any need for any of that stuff. Why? Because the women will be just as righteous as the men. You understand? But keep was that the end of the scripture?
No,
keep going. Let's finish it out.
Come. And the house of Jacob, their city.
So yeah, we need to show you, we need to tell you, hey brother, you doing wrong. You do have no business with that oppressor. And especially him, he's from the South. He knows better. You know better. You know better not to, but as soon as you get up out of, you know, where the restraints are a little bit, when I say a little bit, I use that term loosely. A little bit more lax, because what happened in Seneca Village? That's New York. That's the North.
Central Park.
You know what I'm saying? That our whole, you know, little town within New York City was destroyed. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what part of the country you're in. It doesn't matter what time we're in. They say, you know, we're in different times. No, we're not. The Most High hated us taking strange women or taking in heathens back, you know, when he first ordered it. He hates it right now. Keep reading the article if you could, Barbara Shaw.
Come. And though a few other students took note of ML and Betty's friendly dialogue, it was, after all, a small world inside Old Maine. No one seemed too bothered. Fellow Crozer seminarian and King friend Marcus Wood, in particular, understood some of what spurred ML's attraction. I suppose he thought that here I am out of the South now and not back home, Wood said in a 1986 interview. Out in the open, nothing illegal, a free place. Sure, I could go over and talk to this white girl.
So right here, he's like saying nothing illegal, which is absolutely wrong. You're going off of the oppressors, you know, laws. That's what he was going off of. You know what I'm saying? But according to the Most High, what he was doing, he was breaking the law. He was sinning. Do you know what sin is? Because most Christians, if not all of them, do not know what sin is. If you could, get me what sin is. Come on now, you should know exactly where it is. Yeah, go ahead, go to it. We're gonna get exactly what sin is, what sin really is, because this MLK was, yeah. See, yeah. Like, come on now. I told you should know where it is. I told you should know where. Go ahead, get it. You got it? All right, bring it out.
1 John chapter 3, verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin.
Whosoever committed sin, as I'm saying, what MLK was doing was committing sin, right? Keep going.
Transgressive also the law.
He transgresses the law. So what is sin? Keep going.
For sin is the transgression of the law.
So sin is transgression of the law. Now, you said a lot of people saying, how in the world is him talking or trying to date or anything transgression of the law? How is that? Well, because the Most High said not to take any strange woman. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Most High said, and we're about to get that right now. Keep reading the article if you could, Barbara Shaw.
Throughout the course of ML's first year at Crozer, his relationship with Betty continued to develop as their chats moved out of Miss Hannah's basement kitchen. Soon, ML was also making the straight 5-minute walk from Old Maine to visit her at her Moit's home. He used to go over their house quite often to see her, Wood wrote in his 1998 memoir. ML felt at ease with Betty.
So he went over there and just got totally relaxed, at ease with this oppressor. No, not even though he knows how much of a beast she is, and her people are. Give me Deuteronomy 7:3. Why? Because he lived in Jim Crow South. You know what I'm saying? He lived it out. So this is where he's sinning. Keep going.
Come. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughters thou shalt not give unto his son.
Right.
Nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. Verse 4. For they will turn away thy son from following me.
So hold on. So he's saying we shouldn't give our daughters to their sons, and we shouldn't take their daughters and give it to our and have our sons go with their daughters. And has nothing to do with their skin color or their complexion or the texture of their hair or the color, the hue of their eyes or any of that stuff, or any of that ridiculousness. But this is the real reason why why we shouldn't do that. Keep reading. Read 4.
Verse 4. For they will turn away thy son from following me.
For they will turn away thy son from following me. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen when it's all about raising up a nation. Raising up, not just raising up a nation, but raising up a nation to fear the Most High. And what is fearing the Most High? Actually obeying his law, statutes, and commandments. If you take a strange woman, her custom is to put a big Christmas tree in the middle of the room. You know what I'm saying? Her custom is to have to celebrate her birthday. Her custom is to celebrate Valentine's Day. Her custom is to feed your baby pork, and to have such delicacies as crab and shrimp and crawfish and all that disgusting vileness. That's her custom, and they're going to teach that to your kids that you can eat pork. All you have to do is just you don't have to eat it that often, and it has to come from a clean source. The farmers or the shepherds who raise these pigs, these hogs, have to do it in such a way where it's clean and kosher and halal. No, it's absolute disgusting. And this is what King wants to join us to. This is what he wants to join us to. Keep going.
That they may serve other gods.
That they may serve other gods, just like I was saying, where they're gonna be celebrating Christmas and birthdays and New Year's and all this other nonsense that the Most High said do not to do. Most of the time, people, I didn't even know that Christmas, the way we know it, the way we used to celebrate it, was in the Bible. Even though they taught us as I was growing up, Jesus is the reason for the season. I did not know the Bible explicitly says not to follow that. I did not know that. And I grew up in the church. You know what I'm saying? How come they can make slogans that say Jesus is the reason for the season when the Bible says do not do this? Someone's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Someone's wrong. And I'll believe the Bible versus some man. Let's continue on with the article.
Come. ML felt at ease with Betty. It was an enthusiasm with which he spoke on a wide range of topics that first attracted her.
Hold on. Always. Come and look at this nigga, yo. All right, Slakia. Keep reading.
Sir. He would talk and talk and talk, Betty says. At first, they discussed his time in the South and how different it was from the idealized culture within the seminary. He didn't yet know how, but according to Betty, one thing ML knew at age 19 was that he could change the world.
So he knew he was going to change. He knew he had an important mission at hand. He knew what he knew that he was going to do something, but he didn't know what or how. You know what I'm saying? He didn't know the details. If he would actually read the scriptures, he wouldn't have been on the wrong side of history. Because right now he's on the wrong side of history. Drop me down to, let's see. Let's drop me down to Pennsylvania was the most flexible state.
Come. Pennsylvania was one of the most flexible states when it came to miscegenation.
Miscegenation.
Miscegenation laws. Still, that didn't mean ML and Betty could head over to a local cafe and hold hands out in the open. Members of the Crozer community, despite their liberalism, will have had trouble throwing their support behind such an arrangement. They weren't against it, but they weren't exactly for it either. Glares, scoffs, and headshakes were inevitable. Cyril Powell, ML's classmate from Panama, who worried about the relationship smearing King, worked in the kitchen and dining hall and witnessed ML and Betty getting closer. I knew about it. I thought it was bad, but I didn't want to get involved.
Cry aloud, spare not, show my people their transgressions. He's in seminary school too. He's supposed to learn Isaiah 58.
It seems that his friend also had a respect of persons.
Exactly. The Most High is not a respecter of persons, and neither is prophets and priests. That's why it tells us, it orders us. That's a commandment to cry aloud. We ain't supposed to spare nobody's feelings. If you're doing something that's totally out of order, it is our job, our responsibility, our duty to tell you you are out of order. Why? Because it spread. Just like I remember General Mahyman, he taught a class one time, and he's probably said this many a times, but actually he has. I've seen him, say it many times. But he says, cowardice is contagious. You know what I'm saying? If you're a coward, people around you are going to be cowards. So is courage. So is bravery. All that stuff is contagious. If you stand up for what's right, and when I say stand up for what's right, I'm talking about speaking out against, the oppression that our oppressors put us through. Reminding our people, that's another thing. Back in the day, it wasn't hard to say and convince our people that the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. It wasn't hard because we lived it daily. We seen it in our faces. You know what I'm saying? King being from the South, he sees it. He's seen it daily. He's seen the oppression daily, and he's there. There is no doubt in my mind he has come up against, before he was Dr. King, he's come up against some oppression within his life, face to face. So he knew who the enemy was. Right now, since we got social media, since we have other platforms, since we got brothers in the NFL and the NBA and Major League baseball, or in the rap game, or in the music industry, or doing all this stuff, this and that, and have even the drug dealers who actually have some sort of money, who's hood rich. We don't think that the oppressor is the enemy anymore. We don't. It's hard to tell our people that the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, and have them not having come back at us. But back then, it was in their face. They seen it daily. They warned their kids, do not do this, do not do that, especially around white, around the oppressor. Do not do this. Otherwise, there are going to be some consequences and repercussions that can affect the whole family, that can affect the city or the town that you're living in.
So, sir, will this precept work in the situation that you're speaking of? Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 7.
Yes.
Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart.
Yes.
Like the gift is, say the white people giving black people certain things, amenities, and some type of so-called validation in certain areas, like Sidney Poitier. Like the white people would give a black person something, and then they will feel like they're not oppressed anymore. And that would destroy their heart, meaning their mind, thinking that they're okay when they're definitely not.
That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. There was a time when one of the whole reasons why they built the Colosseum in Rome was to destroy their heart. You know what I'm saying? And how is that possible? What am I saying? What I'm saying is they built. If anybody has ever been to Rome and seen the Colosseum, that is a major structure. That is a huge, like, and it's for the time that they built it in, you know, the time frame that it was built. Like, we can see skyscrapers and be like, well, you know, that's a normal thing because it happens in our day and age. But in that day and age, you didn't have, you know, buildings or structures that was over a certain height or a certain, you know, had a certain footprint and whatnot. This place was huge. You know what I'm saying? It still is to this day. It is a massive structure. They built that to break people's hearts. You know what I'm saying? Whenever there was a riot, whenever there was a civil unrest, they would throw some games on, and it would calm the people down. Get them to take their mind off of, you know, the social injustices or whatever was going on, to get the people all riled up. It would get them off. Why do you think right now there's three different really that blacks and Hispanics like? There's three different major sporting leagues in the US. There's football, there's baseball, and there's basketball. Whenever one ends, the next one is just ramping up, starting up. You know what I'm saying? And it goes throughout the whole year. Whenever, and just think in recent times, you know, the past 5 years. Just think of the past 5 years. Most of the civil unrest happened. I can't say most of it, but a lot of times when the civil unrest happened, there was a pandemic. There was no baseball. There was no football. There was no basketball that you can actually go to. There was only maybe you can watch it on TV where there was no people in the arena. That's part of the, you know, that's part of the allure, part of the attraction of rooting your team on. You know what I'm saying? Then there was a quote unquote ban on the NFL when Colin Kaepernick took a knee. The oppressor knows what they're doing. The oppressor knows what they're doing. They're because we're mad. They're trying to throw gifts at us so that we can forget what they're doing to us. Just take our eyes off the ball. Nah, not up in here. There is no way we're going to take our eyes off the ball and let the oppressor off with all that he has done. Let's read a little more. Drop me down to when ML's sister Christine.
Come. When ML's sister Christine came to visit him at Crozer, as she did regularly, his friendship with Betty crept back into the shadows.
So he knew what the hell he was doing. He knew what he was doing was wrong. Why? Because when his sister came, keep reading.
Come. It wasn't that ML didn't trust Christine. Their relationship had always been strong. It was the fact that Christine was a direct conduit to their mother.
So he was afraid that Christine was going to tell his mother.
Still scared of mama.
Still scared of mama. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why we are in this condition today, and back then, during Jim Crow, right after slavery, we founded 127 HBCUs. How many have we founded since since integration, since the civil rights movement? Zero. We haven't founded not near one. When in a time we have more money, we have more education, we have more resources in order to do something like that. But since then, we have not done any of that. Why? Because we've been given a gift of quote unquote civil rights. Our hearts were destroyed. Keep going.
Come. And that was something ML could not risk. Telling his sister about Betty would have meant putting her in the uninviable position of withholding important information from her mother in every letter and phone call home.
Hold on 1 second. Let me play my song. I want everybody to remember that song whenever they hear or think of MLK. Because that's exactly what he is. That's exactly what he is. Keep going.
And if Christine were to let slip that ML had been getting closer to a white woman, ML could only imagine the disappointment in his mother's eyes. Betty knew about these concerns. He was worried that he was worried what she'd think, she recalls.
So it's unfortunate because as charismatic, as dynamic as he was, he could have been a great man to his people. He could have been, but he gave into his lust, and his lust was for white women. That's what he lusted for. Give me the other article. We want to drop this here, and if you want to read this article, you can go ahead and read this article. It's entitled "We Were Madly, Madly in Love: The Untold Story of MLK's White Girlfriend," and this is from Politico. This article is from Politico, but his lust didn't stop there. We're gonna continue on with that other article. Let me get there with you. Okay, yeah, I'm there. Yeah. And this before I bring this out, I did not know this until I actually came into the school. I did not know what I'm about to bring out until I actually came into the school, and what was a driving force within not just MLK's driving force, but within the civil rights movement. Within the civil rights movement, it's not just him, but within the whole movement. Read it.
What evidence exists that Martin Luther King Jr. engaged in orgies with white prostitutes and other women? The evidence is quite solid that Martin Luther King Jr. did cheat on his wife, but the claims that he engaged in orgies or that he had sex with prostitutes, white or otherwise, appear to be totally undocumented at best and completely bunk at worst.
So this is what he's saying. He's saying he knows that he was screwing around on Coretta Scott King, but he can't validate if it was with white prostitutes or if it was with prostitutes or not. Now, why do we say this? Why do we say this? We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. And we're going to we're going to get into it. Keep reading.
Come. Ralph Abernathy, a close personal friend of Martin Luther King Jr. and King's successor as head of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, wrote a tell-all memoir shortly before he died called "And the Walls Came Tumbling Down," which was extremely controversial when it came out 1989 because of its discussion of King's infidelities. According to this page on Snopes.com, which quotes extensively from Abernathy's autobiography, many African-American women found Dr. King extremely attractive, and King was not always successful in warding off extramarital temptation. So
with power and and fame attracts a lot of suitors. You know what I'm saying? Attracts a lot of a lot of women are hardwired to see someone who has power, charisma, and and ability to take care of themselves, to take care of them. The man has the ability to take care of them. They find themselves attracted to that. You know what I'm saying? Especially in a time when women weren't in the same position as they are today, where I have my own education. My education is better than yours. My career is better than yours. I'm smarter than you. I make more money than you. I do not need you. That mentality that a lot of women have, especially our women, have today was not that mentality back then. You know what I'm saying? The man was a breadwinner. Even though women did work back then, she could not fully take care of herself and the kids by themselves. You know what I'm saying? So she needed that man, not just to provide, food and shelter, but to provide protection against, our oppressor. You know what I'm saying? What little that we could do to shelter our families, because like I said, there is nothing that could have stopped any of the oppressors from coming to us, coming to where we were, kicking our door and doing whatever the hell they wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? There's countless times that something like that has happened to us during this time. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times that will be deterred by having the strong man in the house. How can you destroy a house? You first must bind the strong man. That's scripture. You know what I'm saying? But keep reading.
Concert. Martin and I were away more often than we were at home. And while this was no excuse for extramarital relations, it was a reason. Some men are better able to bear such deprivations than others. Though all of us in SCLC headquarters had our weak moments, we all understood and believed in the biblical prohibition against sex outside of marriage.
So right here, SCLC was a Southern Christian leadership conference, right? This is pastors and people who taught the Bible. But yet they go ahead and make a statement like this: sex outside of marriage, you dumb idiot. Sex is marriage according to the Bible.
That's right. How
can you not know this about your own profession? If I'm an IT guy and I don't know how to turn on a goddamn computer, I shouldn't be called an IT guy. Right. If I'm a mechanic, a car mechanic, and I don't know how to put gas in a car, I shouldn't be called a mechanic. If I don't know how to turn on the engine or change spark plugs or do any of the mechanical stuff for being a car mechanic, I should not be called a car mechanic. If I was called a chef and I do not know how to chop some onions or put together a recipe, I should not be called a chef. These people should not be called pastors. They have no idea. Now, where he went wrong, we're not even going into to the oppressors right now or the heathens right now. Where he went wrong was there was nothing wrong with him taking on another woman. Where he went wrong was throwing them away. According to the scripture, if you lay with a woman, that is your woman for life. That's where he went wrong. And society would tell you, according to Christianity, that it's a zero-sum game. What is a zero-sum game? In order to have one, if you already have one and you want another, you must first get rid of that one, and then you can go and get that other. That's not what the Bible teaches. If you're a man, if you want another wife, you can take another wife, but you cannot throw away your other woman. Matter of fact, let's get that. Let's get her duty and her raiment shall not decrease.
Is that the woman's scriptures? That's in the woman's.
No. Hold on, bear with us for a second. Exodus 21:10. I knew that. Give me Exodus 21:10, Baba Kashaw.
Come on. Exodus chapter 21, verse 10. if he take him another wife.
This is the law. This is the law. What Moses is giving to the children of Israel. He's saying if the man takes him another wife, right? So this is what the law is stating in the scripture. If he takes another wife, keep going.
Her food.
Her
raiment.
Right. Her food and clothes.
Her duty of marriage.
How often you will have sex with her, or anything that involves the marriage. If you was doing anything with that first wife that you at that time, whatever you was doing with that first wife, keep going.
Shall he not diminish?
You shall not diminish if you take on another wife. If date nights, if you've been married for 10 years, right? Whether it's 10 years or 3 months, and every Wednesday night you go on a date night with that woman, and now you got a new woman, that date night still has to remain every Wednesday night. You know what I'm saying? Everything that you've done with that woman prior, if you got her flowers, twice a week or twice a month, or if you just name something that you did with her on a regular basis, you cannot then take away those resources, that whether it's time, whether it's money, whether it's affection or whatever it is you gave to that woman, and you take away that and give it to another, you are in violation. You shouldn't do that. You cannot do that. Now, if you cannot maintain the two or the three or whatever, you should not get the 2, the 3, or the whatever. If you can only afford, when I say afford, I'm not talking about money. If you can only afford enough time to dedicate to one woman, then do that. But if you have enough time to spread out, I would say get in class and learn how to do it properly. That's what I would say.
Right.
Before you ever do anything. Why? Because if you try it and you fail and you throw someone away, it is going to be a punishment probably worse than death. You know what I'm saying? Do not try this at home. Let's keep reading the article if you could, Baba Shah.
Come. It was just that he had a particularly difficult time with that temptation.
And see, it was temptation when it really wasn't a temptation. All he had to do was say, I'm getting another woman, and not throw her away. But Christianity is a hell of a drug. Keep going.
Come. In addition to his personal vulnerability, he was also a man who attracted women, even when he didn't intend to, and attracted them in droves. Part of his appeal was his predominant role in the black community, and part of it was personal.
So like I said, he had power and he had charisma. That attracts women. You know what I'm saying? Whether you want to do it or not, it just attracts women, right? They're hardwired to see a provider, a protector, someone who has, if he says something and other men listen, women see that and they want to be a part of that. Right? So keep going.
During the last 10 years of his life, Martin Luther King was the most important black man in America. The fact alone endowed him with an aura of power and greatness that women found very appealing. He was a hero, the greatest hero of his age, and women were always attracted to a hero.
Within our community, even within our community, there were some naysayers and whatnot, but for the most part, especially to the women, like even if you look at the old civil rights movements, it had a lot of women in there. Those the film of us getting shot by water hoses and whatnot, and had police dogs sicked on us, had a lot of women in there. And it had a lot to do with him, his charisma, and his power. It was ran by the church. The church is mostly women in itself right there. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
But he also had a personal charm that ingratiated him with members of the opposite sex. He was always gracious and courteous to women, whether they were attractive to him or not. He had perfect manners. He was well educated. He was warm and friendly. He could make them laugh. He was good company, something that cannot always be said of heroes. These qualities made him even more attractive in close proximity than he was at a distance.
So now, just with all these, qualities, there's a lot of women around him. And just like, a superstar, whether, you're in the rap game or you're an athlete, you have an entourage, you have people around you. They get to pick up the crumbs, so to speak. I don't mean to, put it that way, but whether even if you're around, the star, you have certain things that you're afforded just because you're around them. You know what I'm saying? And because he has so much women around him, he was a star. He had so much women around him. There was other Christian pastors that was there, and we all know how Christian pastors are. They are sexual deviants because they do not obey what the Most High commanded them. There was even an account of one of the people that was close to him in SCLA that was a child a pedophile. You know what I'm saying? So all these demons, all these people that had demons on them were around him, and they knew what he was doing because they was all participating in it. How do we know? We're gonna find out. Let's keep reading.
On the other hand, even though Abernathy risked a lot of ostracism from his peers after writing about Martin Luther King's infidelities, Abernathy never ever claimed that King engaged in orgies or that he had sex with white women, prostitutes, or otherwise.
Now, if he didn't say this, because it was his close friend, he was around him all the time. If he didn't say it, he told everybody that he was, he's smashing everything in sight. So why not just, might as well say he dealt with white women too. You know what I'm saying? Only reason why he got with Coretta Scott King was because it looked bad if he was with a white woman. If you would have read in the article, the previous article, it actually says how what he wanted to do, he couldn't do with a white woman. So he had to marry a sister. He had to do that in order to accomplish the biggest heist in history. And that's a game gap black people, and to think that we are equal to these devils, to all these heathens, when we are not equal to any of them, according to the Most High. If you don't believe me, read Deuteronomy 7:6. Right? Keep going.
The most likely reason that he never made claims like that is because those claims are untrue.
So this is what this author is saying. He's saying most likely it's because those claims are untrue. I'm saying it's more facetious. He's just trying to get stuff done. You know what I'm saying? And as bad as sleeping with a bunch of groupies, because that's basically what they were. They just wanted to be around him and whatnot. People could stomach that. You know what I'm saying? They seen how charismatic he was. Oh, boys will be boys. But if you're actually fighting against the oppressor, quote unquote, fighting against the oppressor when in reality all you was doing was begging the oppressor to be equal, and you come out and you get you an oppressor's daughter, really? Now that wouldn't sit well with the movement. That's what I believe. That's not what is actually being said. But the reason why there are claims that he had, that this was going on, was for another reason, and we're about to read those reasons right here. Keep going.
Abernathy had no incentive to keep silent about tales of orgies or prostitutes, even if they had been true. Abernathy was close to death in dire economic circumstances And if Dr. King had involved himself with prostitutes and orgies, Abernathy would have probably included them in his autobiography in order to sell more copies of his book and pay off his debts.
Why would he do that? He was close to death. Well, what it would, okay, so they're saying if it was true, then he would write in his book, sell more books and pay off his debt and then die. Last time I learned, when you die, you ain't got no more debts.
Right.
Boy, they gonna come to the grave and they're gonna put a phone in the casket, and they're gonna say, "Hey, I heard your warranty is coming out. Coming up. Your car warranty is coming up, so we need to straighten this out." You know what I'm saying? No, you dead. You die. He didn't care about it, but what he did care was what he put all his life into, which was the civil rights. That would have damaged legacies. You know what I'm saying? Irreputable legacies. You know what I'm saying? So how are we coming upon this quote unquote rumor that King was involved in orgies with white women? Skip me down to, on the other hand.
Come. On the other hand, the stories of orgies and white prostitutes appear to be figments of the imagination that originally came from racist FBI agents.
Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so they're saying it's figments of imagination. Let's see how it's a figment of imagination. Keep going.
Come. The FBI first began to spy on Martin Luther King Jr. in 1963 after Morris and Jack Childs, two brothers who were FBI informants inside the American Communist Party, told the agency that King had started taking advice from Stanley Levison, a white businessman who had previously been a member of the Communist Party.
Now, if you didn't know, the FBI hates commies. Hated commies, back then. They hate commies now. Not so much, but they still hated commies back, especially back then. So if anybody was involved in the Communist Party, the FBI had tabs on them. So this was a reason to actually deep dive into what King was doing. And this how they justified their spying on King. Skip me down to the next chapter.
Although J. Edgar Hoover originally spied on Martin Luther King Jr. because he wanted to tie King to communism, Hoover quickly used his surveillance operation to search for any evidence of sexual indiscretion by King as well.
Any sexual indiscretion. So this was well known that he was getting down. He was doing all sorts of nastiness and disgustingness and darkness. All right, keep going.
The rumors of orgies by Martin Luther King Jr. and his ministerial entourage
and his entourage and the ministers, the so-called men of God who believed that you was only supposed to have sex when you're married to one woman, even though they had one of the top members of this group, the civil rights group, was a homosexual, right? So this is the sort of company that they kept, right? Keep going.
And his ministerial entourage probably stemmed from a 1964 audio tape that the FBI made of Martin Luther King's room at the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C.
Right here in D.C. Now, this is just one place. There's just one place. King traveled throughout the country, throughout the South, to spread the word of the civil rights. There's just one place that this has happened. Whenever he traveled in an entourage. He didn't travel by himself. Keep going.
While Dr. King was in the nation's capital attending Supreme Court deliberations in the case of New York Times Company versus Sullivan. According to FBI technicians, interviewed by the historian Taylor Branch. The tapes include sounds of clinking glasses.
Hold on. Now, before you read, just leave out the cuss word, if you could, Baba Kashaw. The water.
The tapes include sounds of clinking glasses, ministers telling dirty jokes,
right,
and supposedly what is the sound of Martin Luther King shouting, "I'm effing for God."
That's what he... What? Say that again. He's what?
I'm effing for God.
Right? And then here's the next one that blew my mind when I first heard it. What? Read that next one. What did he say? What did he say?
And I'm not a Negro tonight.
He said, I ain't a nigga tonight. Why is he saying, you know what? Hold on. Play my song. Hold on. Play my song. All right, just know that I.S.U.P.K does not own the rights to this music. This music is someone else's. It is not our song. All right, okay. We do not own the rights to this song. We are not advertising anybody's music. All right, unless it's UPK's. So what did he shout? What was the last thing he shouted?
I'm not a Negro tonight.
He ain't a nigga tonight. Come on, and he's effing for God. For time's sake, I'm just gonna cut it off right there. The FBI files says that it is recorded King and a lot of these ministers in a hotel room right here in DC, and they make claims of orgies and $100 a night hookers, white hookers, in this room, and they was all doing whatever the hell they were doing. Within this is where the quote unquote rumors come in. Now, the reason why they're saying is rumors is because these tapes have been sealed until the year 2027. That's 5 years from now. In 5 years, if the Most High does not send Christ back, those tapes will be unsealed, and we'll know exactly what King said. He ain't no nigga tonight. And with that, I pass the class to the trooper. Bagaibawa.
Security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yahanna. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shut themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Means 10th in Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation.
You can read on the door.
Absolutely. Purim, 14th day and the 15th day of the 12th month. Monday, the 14th of February, and Tuesday, the 15th of February, 2022. You can find this in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verses 20 through 31. Remind Akim and Akwafian to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, you should start wearing all black, which includes black boots, black shirts, black pants, black headband, or scarf. And with that, we say Imagim, which means to stand. We'll give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Imagim. Imagim Shabbat. Imagim Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yadim Matah. Class dismissed.